Welcome to Digimark Media, your source for the latest in digital marketing tips and strategies. In this episode, we're covering an important topic. What is SEO-rich text and how it helps to make Google love your content? Stay tuned as we explore its benefits and best practices. We're glad to have you with us. Let's get started on the power of SEO-rich text.
Okay, so I know you're super keen to get your website climbing those search result rankings.
Absolutely.
And you're particularly interested in SEO-rich text, right? Sometimes called structured data.
Yeah.
To give your SEO that extra oomph.
Uh-huh.
So today, we're going to do a deep dive into how this all actually works.
Awesome.
We'll be checking out what SEO-rich text and rich snippets are, how they benefit you, some of the types that are, most relevant for you,
Okay.
and how to make them work like magic on your site.
Cool.
One thing I found super interesting, by the way, is that rich snippets can even help you get featured in voice search results,
Wow.
which is like increasingly important these days, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But first, let's break down exactly what SEO-rich text is
Okay.
and how it's different from just, chucking in a bunch of keywords.
So you're totally right to be focusing on SEO-rich text.
Okay.
It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
A lot of people think SEO is just about keywords.
Yeah.
But it's way more than that.
I think so, too.
With SEO-rich text,
Yeah.
you're not just adding those keywords.
Right.
You're adding context to your content.
Okay.
It's like, imagine this.
Okay.
You're giving search engines a backstage pass to your website,
Wow.
showing them exactly what each piece of content is all about.
Right. Like, it's not just about the words themselves. It's
Mhm.
about, like, what they mean in relation to everything else.
Precisely.
And that backstage pass is what leads to those rich snippets you see in search results, isn't it?
That's right.
The ones with, like, all the extra information, like star ratings and images, even prices sometimes.
Yeah.
So I know you've been wanting to, like, really improve conversions on your landing page for your handcrafted pottery. And I think rich snippets could be, like, a total game changer for that.
Really?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Interesting.
Imagine a potential customer is searching for, say, handmade ceramic mugs,
Okay.
and your listing pops up.
Uh-huh.
It shows a beautiful picture of your mug, the price, and then, like, bam, a 5-star rating.
Oh, wow.
That's instant credibility, right?
Yeah.
And a much higher chance they'll actually click through to buy.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's like giving it that extra, what's the word? That extra appeal.
Yeah, totally. That extra, like, visual appeal
Yeah. That
makes it more trustworthy, more informative.
Definitely.
So how does this magic happen?
Well, the key ingredient is something called schema markup.
Schema markup.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's code that you add to your website's HTML.
Right.
It's kind of like a secret language you're whispering to Google,
Secret language.
Yeah, telling it exactly what each element on your page actually means.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a product, this is the price, these are 5-star reviews from happy customers.
Oh, okay.
The clearer you are with Google,
Mhm.
the more likely you are to get those amazing, eye-catching, rich snippets.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So instead of just plain text, you're
Yeah.
adding this layer of code.
It's exactly.
It gives Google more context.
Mm-hmm.
And although we might not see this markup directly,
Right.
search engines use it to understand and, like, categorize our content,
Exactly.
making it more likely to show up as a rich snippet.
Precisely.
So I know you mentioned there are different types of rich snippets, right?
Yes.
What are some of the most common ones that our listeners might want to consider for their websites?
So there are a lot of different types, actually.
Yeah.
But we can focus on, like, the ones that are most relevant to you.
Okay, cool.
Let's start with product-rich snippets,
Okay.
which are perfect for your pottery website.
Okay.
You're already using them to showcase, product images, prices, and those ratings.
Yeah.
But you can even include things like availability
Really?
and special promotions.
Oh, wow.
Things that can really entice a potential customer to click through and buy something.
Right. Yeah. That makes total sense, especially for e-commerce sites.
Yeah.
I can see how those details would be, like, a game changer. Attract customers and drive sales.
Uh-huh.
Are there other types of rich snippets that would be relevant to me?
Oh, for sure.
So I'm, like, really focused on writing how-to guides for my gardening blog.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, you're in luck.
Okay.
There's a perfect rich snippet type for those.
Really?
They're called, you guessed it, how-to rich snippets.
Oh, wow. Okay.
These allow you to showcase your tutorials and instructions
Okay.
in a really visually appealing way.
Cool.
They break down each step,
Right.
make it super easy for people to follow along,
Uh-huh.
and they also show an estimated time to complete the project,
Oh, wow.
which can be very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I can see how that would make my how-to guides stand out
Exactly.
in those search results, attract more gardening enthusiasts to
That's
my
fair.
blog. So now I'm like really curious to learn how to actually implement these different types of rich snippets on my website.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's a great segue into the practical side of things.
Yeah.
And luckily, it's not as complicated as it might seem,
Oh, good.
especially with all the tools and resources we have these days.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get into the
Absolutely.
how-to of schema markup.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's kick things off with a first step,
Okay.
which is choosing the right schema type for your content.
Right. Okay.
So this goes back to aligning with what people are actually searching for.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the type of website or content you have.
Yeah.
So for your pottery website, you'll mainly be using product schema.
Okay.
While for your gardening blog, it's those helpful how-to snippets.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
It's all about using the right tool for the job.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like you wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb.
Exactly.
So how do we actually add this schema markup to our websites?
Okay.
Is this something we have to code by hand? Or are there tools that can help us out?
You'll be glad to know you don't need to be a coding whiz for this. Google actually offers a fantastic tool called the Structured Data Markup Helper.
Structured Data Markup Helper.
Yeah, it's a free tool that basically guides you through the process of tagging the elements on your web page.
Oh, cool.
So you just paste in your URL, and it highlights different elements like product names, descriptions, prices, all that good stuff.
Okay.
You then tag those elements with the right schema vocabulary.
Right.
And then the tool actually generates the code for you.
Oh, wow. That sounds incredibly user-friendly.
It is.
I was a bit intimidated by the thought of having to write all that code myself.
Yeah, no, it's designed to be really easy.
So it sounds like this tool does all the heavy lifting for us.
Pretty much.
So once we have that code,
Yeah.
where do we actually put it on our website?
Most content management systems, like WordPress, for example,
Yeah.
allow you to add code snippets to your website's header or footer.
Okay.
There are also plugins that can make it even easier,
Oh, okay.
like Yoast SEO, for instance.
Right.
That's a popular WordPress plugin.
I use that
Yeah, a lot of people do.
for my gardening blog.
Well, it has built-in features for adding schema markup.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's super handy.
I'll have to explore that.
Yeah, definitely.
So once we've added the schema markup to our website, how do we know if it's actually working correctly?
Good question.
Is there a way to test it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Google provides another super useful tool called the Rich Results Test.
Rich results test.
Yes.
Okay.
You can either put in your website's URL
Okay.
or paste in the schema markup code directly.
Right.
And it analyzes it to see if it's valid
Uh-huh.
and if it's eligible to display as a rich snippet.
Oh, okay. So it's a good way to double check our work.
Exactly.
Make sure everything's set up properly.
Yep, that's the idea.
Those are all really great resources.
Yeah, they're super helpful.
I'm feeling a lot more confident about implementing schema markup now.
That's great to hear.
But even with all the technical stuff in place, I know that creating really high quality, engaging content
Yeah,
is still crucial for SEO success.
you're absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah, no amount of schema markup can make up for content that's,
Yeah.
boring, irrelevant, or poorly written.
Yeah.
Search engines prioritize content that's informative, engaging, and valuable.
Right. Okay.
Think about what your audience is searching for
Yeah.
and what questions they need answered.
And that's where my passion for gardening comes in. I love sharing my knowledge and helping people create these beautiful, thriving gardens.
That's awesome.
So I pour my heart and soul into creating those how-to guides.
Yeah.
And I think that authenticity really resonates with my readers.
And that's what makes your content so compelling. It's not just about providing information.
Right
It's
on.
about sharing your expertise and enthusiasm in a way that connects with your audience.
Yeah.
But even with great content,
Yeah.
you need to make sure it's easy to read
Mm-hmm.
and visually appealing, especially on mobile devices.
That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, it's super important these days.
I do most of my browsing on my phone now.
Same here.
And I know how annoying it is when a website is difficult to navigate or the text is too small.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
So, yeah.
Yeah, a significant portion of internet traffic comes from mobile devices.
Right.
So your website needs to be responsive,
Responsive.
meaning the layout and design automatically adjust to different screen sizes.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to optimize your images for mobile,
Right.
use efficient code,
Uh-huh.
and minimize unnecessary plugins that can slow down loading times.
Right. It's all about creating a smooth and enjoyable experience for mobile users.
Exactly.
They shouldn't have to, like, zoom in and out constantly
Right.
or struggle to read the content.
Absolutely not.
And I imagine visuals play an even bigger role on mobile devices where
definitely.
screen space is limited.
Yeah, high-quality images and videos can really capture attention
Yeah.
and make your content more engaging.
Right.
And those star ratings and customer reviews we talked about earlier
Yeah.
can also be very persuasive on mobile.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Think about how you use your own phone.
Yeah.
You're more likely to click on a listing with positive reviews
Right.
and nice, appealing images.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all about making a strong first impression
Right.
and giving people a reason to choose your content over the competition.
I've noticed that sometimes,
Yeah.
even with great visuals
Oh, yeah.
and mobile optimization,
Yeah.
some websites just feel like outdated or unreliable.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's crucial to make sure your content is fresh, accurate, and up to date.
Right.
Out-of-date information can be super frustrating for users,
Yeah.
and it can damage your credibility.
I know. I get annoyed when I click on a link that promises, like, the latest info on something, only to find that it's years old.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Right.
It's so frustrating. Yeah, regular content updates are essential,
Okay.
especially for information that changes a lot.
Right.
You don't want to mislead your readers or give them inaccurate info.
No, definitely not.
So how do we keep our content fresh and relevant over time?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
It seems like a daunting task,
it can be.
especially for websites with, like, a ton of content.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming, though.
Okay.
Start by setting up a system for reviewing and updating your content regularly.
Right.
You can use a content calendar
Okay.
or set reminders to check for outdated info.
Right.
And if you have an e-commerce site, make sure your product descriptions, pricing, and availability are always accurate.
Right, yeah.
A lot of platforms actually have integrations with inventory management systems
Oh, cool.
that can automate those updates for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super helpful.
Takes the guesswork out of it.
Exactly.
But even with these systems in place, it's always a good idea to have a human double-check things, right?
You're absolutely right.
Right.
Technology can be incredibly helpful,
Yeah.
but it's not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
A human review can catch any errors or inconsistencies that might have slipped through.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today.
We have.
Choosing the right schema markup, using tools like Google's structured data markup helper,
Yep.
rich results tests,
Uh-huh.
optimizing for mobile devices,
Yes.
and keeping our content fresh and engaging.
All important stuff.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's important to remember that SEO is an ongoing process.
Right.
It's not a one-time fix.
Yeah.
It requires continuous effort and adjustments.
Okay.
One of the best ways to refine your approach is to test and analyze your results.
Right. So, like, experiment with different things,
Exactly.
see what works.
Yeah, try different types of schema markup, different ways of structuring your content, different approaches to mobile optimization, and see what happens.
So it's about finding what works best for my specific website and audience. And I can use tools like Google Search Console
Yeah.
to track my progress and see how my efforts are impacting my rankings and traffic.
Absolutely. Google Search Console is a gold mine of information.
Right.
It can tell you which keywords people are using to find you,
Okay.
how your rich snippets are performing in search results,
Uh-huh.
and any errors that might be affecting your visibility.
This is all incredibly insightful.
I'm glad you think so.
I feel like I'm finally starting to understand the power of SEO
Cruz,
and how it can help me achieve my goals online.
that's great.
It's not just about technical tricks anymore.
Nope.
It's about creating a better experience for my readers.
That's the key takeaway.
Yeah. And speaking of creating a better experience,
Yes.
let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's becoming increasingly important these days.
Okay.
Voice search.
Yeah, voice search.
I know you mentioned you're interested in learning more about how to optimize for that.
Absolutely.
It seems like everyone is using voice assistants these days.
It's true.
I know I use Siri all the time.
Yeah, me too.
To search for information, set reminders,
Uh-huh.
even control my smart home devices.
It's so convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Right.
Not at all.
Voice search is growing rapidly.
It's huge.
And it's changing the way people interact with search engines.
Absolutely.
So we need to adapt our SEO strategies to reflect this new reality.
That's right.
So how do we optimize for voice search?
Okay.
Is it just a matter of using more conversational keywords?
It's definitely part of it.
Okay.
People tend to use longer, more natural-sounding phrases when they're speaking
Right.
compared to when they're typing.
Makes sense.
But it goes beyond just keywords.
Okay.
You need to think about the user's intent
Yeah.
and how they're phrasing their questions.
Right. So for example, instead of searching for best ceramic mugs,
Yeah.
someone might ask their voice assistant, like, hey Siri, where can I buy a handmade ceramic mug near me?
Exactly. Voice searches are often more conversational and location-based,
Okay.
and they often involve a specific question
Right.
that the user wants answered.
So if we want our content to be featured as a voice search answer,
Uh-huh.
we need to make sure it's structured in a way that provides a clear, concise, and direct answer
Precisely.
to that specific question.
That's the key.
And this is where rich snippets can play a crucial role, right?
Absolutely.
Because when a voice assistant needs to provide a direct answer,
Yeah.
it often relies on the structured data provided by schema markup
Exact.
to identify the most relevant and authoritative source of information.
It's like you're having a conversation with the voice assistant,
Right, yeah.
giving it the information it needs to provide the best possible answer to the user.
And by optimizing our content for voice search,
Yeah.
we're not only staying ahead of the curve,
Uh-huh.
but we're also making our information more accessible to a wider audience.
That's right.
This is all so fascinating.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces of the SEO puzzle fit together.
Yeah, it all comes together.
From schema markup and rich snippets to mobile optimization and voice search.
It's all connected.
It's about creating content that's not only informative and engaging,
Yeah.
but also accessible and easy to find,
Right.
no matter how people are searching.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of SEO.
Yeah,
It's constantly evolving.
right.
It challenges us to think creatively and adapt to new technologies and new user behaviors.
Yeah, it really is fascinating to see how SEO has evolved from, like, just stuffing keywords in
Right.
to this more holistic approach that considers user experience, accessibility, even the way people actually speak.
Yeah. It's like we're not just optimizing for search engines anymore.
Right.
We're optimizing for, like, real people,
Exactly.
the way they interact with information.
That's a great way to put it. And,
Yeah.
when you think about it.
SEO-rich text and schema markup are actually playing a big role in making the internet
Right.
a more inclusive and accessible place for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember reading in one of the articles that schema markup can be really helpful for people with disabilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who rely on, assistive technologies like screen readers.
Exactly. Screen readers can use schema markup to better understand the content on a page
Okay.
and convey it more effectively to users who are visually impaired.
Right.
For example, if you have a product page with schema markup,
Yeah.
that clearly identifies like a product name, the price,
Okay.
the reviews.
Yeah.
A screen reader can easily convey that info to someone who can't see it.
It's amazing to think that something as, seemingly technical as schema markup can have such a big impact on people's ability to access and enjoy information online.
It really shows the importance of thinking beyond just rankings and traffic when it comes to SEO.
Yeah.
It's about creating a better online experience for everyone.
I've learned so much from this deep dive.
Good, I'm glad.
It's really opened my eyes to the power of SEO-rich text.
It's powerful stuff.
And how it can help me, connect with my audience in more meaningful ways.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Remember, SEO is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
Stay curious, keep learning, and don't be afraid to experiment.
I'm so excited to start implementing everything we've talked about.
Awesome.
I have a feeling my pottery website and gardening blog
Yeah.
are about to get a major SEO boost.
And remember those tools we talked about?
Yeah.
Google's Structured Data Markup Helper and the Rich Results Test?
Uh-huh.
They're going to be your best friends as you start adding schema markup.
Oh, I've already bookmarked them.
Good.
And I'm definitely going to explore the schema markup features in Yoast SEO
Yeah.
for my gardening blog.
Cool.
It seems like there's a whole world of SEO possibilities out there.
There really is. And as you continue to learn and experiment, you'll find what works best for your websites and your audience.
Thank you so much for guiding me through this deep dive.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure.
I feel like I'm armed with a whole new set of SEO superpowers.
Go out there and create some amazing SEO-rich content.
I will. And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of SEO-rich text.
Thanks, everyone.
Until next time, happy optimizing